Keeping the crypt spooky.
Assembly not recommended.
It's pasta your bedtime.
All that in horror.
Cody! What the fuck? The trick-or-treaters are here already.
The fuck? You have 3 weeks left. Come back then.
God damn.
Man, what the hell?
It's becoming like Christmas where people celebrate it earlier and earlier and earlier every year.
Well, I don't mind that, but damn, we're in the middle of something.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's spooky month all month long, but guys,
calm down.
Give us time to collect candy to give to you.
And our spooky thoughts.
That's right.
Oh.
We did it for the lols.
The horror. Episodes filled with horror.
With horror. Guys, this is a club, and it's Dismembers only.
Just keeping it out there.
We're just throwing
Present your membership now. Dismembership now.
You have the right to bear no arms to get in.
Or you can just give us arms. You know, actual arms, not weapons.
That's right. But we can use the arms as weapons.
Yeah. Armed, extremely dangerous.
That's right. Armed and dangerous as fuck. Welcome to episode 41 of the Super Media Brothers podcast. I am Midnight Agent Raw.
I'm Okami.
What's up, guys? And gals and ghouls.
And kids that are still picking themselves up off the porch.
I can't believe you punched Mike this week. Like, this kid. Like,
dressed up as Mike Tyson. I'm sorry. It was an instinct of mine to punch him.
God damn it. It's going to be the first Super Media Bros podcast lawsuit.
The Super Media Brothers lawsuit. That's going to be an actual episode when we're in the courtroom recording and all that's going on.
Yeah, and it's probably not even going to be us actually talking like this. It's just going to be like our statements and...
Your Honor, I'd like to present to the stand this motherfucker. He was dressed up like Mike, and we punch him every week, and he should have been aware of that.
He knows better. He knows better.
So you can't hold me accountable for his mistake.
This is stupid.
Stop it.
Get some help. His lawyer would probably be fucking Big Bill Hell.
Do we quote that every week?
I don't give a fuck, dude. It's the best ever.
Stop it. Get some help. It's like a staple. That and the... Stop it.
Stop it. Get some help.
God.
So...
If you think you're getting out of this scot-free, you can go to hell. Big Bill Hell lawsuit. Home of challenge pissing.
That's right.
Challenge pissing. If you can lay on the ground and piss 6 feet in the air without getting wet, you get no down payment.
No money down.
That's right.
All right. Fucking goddamn it. Okay, we're 3.5 minutes into this. If you're still here, hell yes. Thank you so much. Today, we're going to be talking about horror and how it has influenced pop culture, like in general, because it's literally everywhere. And it's been everywhere for a long time, even more so now, but it's been everywhere for a good bit.
Yeah, we've had quite a bit of a planting for decades now, but eventually it's pretty much gone out of control in a good way.
That's right.
So,
but before we get into all that bullshit, we've got some stuff we want to talk about beforehand. We've had some really awesome music releases happen. And one that's coming up. So, yeah. Fuck yeah. If you guys out there like the band Coheed and Cambria, they just released Vaxis Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures on October 5th.
Ooh.
Holy shit. And it is such a return, literally and figuratively, to form for these guys. Their last album, The Color Before the Sun, took a break from the Amory Wars concept that they had been on since their inception. Vaxis Act 1 is the first of a pentology album series, returning with a brand new storyline that is set in the universe of the Amory Wars. Obviously, the Coheed and Cambria, like the original saga, is over, They had 2 prequel albums, and now we're getting an entirely new one. And holy shit, it is so good. I mean, there are people out there that are like, oh, Coheed and Cambria, they kind of do the same shtick. I mean, yes and no. I like listening to the mythology, lyrically speaking, and then the music just feels bigger on this one than their last album. I didn't really care for the last album too much. And I hate to say it, but it's because they took a break from, the story. But, artists are allowed to go try shit that's outside of the box, obviously, but it just didn't do anything for me. There were a couple of songs I was like, yeah, and I'm a Coheed fan, so that was kind of like, Kind
of a little bit of a letdown.
A little bit. I mean, not by very much, but it was just like, this isn't as good as I hoped it would be. Mm. But this album right here, holy shit. Obviously, The Dark Sentencer and Unheavenly Creatures, the first 2 singles they put out for this album. Holy shit. But to listen to it all the way through, obviously story, but musically, it has a lot of throwback to the Second Stage Turbine Blade in certain areas. It's got a big heavy throwback to In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3 and the Apollo, Good Apollo Volume 1 from Fear Through the Eyes of Madness. Holy shit. And like I said, return to form musically, lyrically. It feels bigger on this one. I know the last, I think 2 or 3 records they produced independently, they're on Roadrunner Records for this release. And I don't know if it's, there or not, but I feel like it gives them a bigger, not a bigger budget, but more of a studio budget to work with. So the sound on the album was a lot more grandiose to me. Mm-hmm. But it's really good. If you guys want to check it out, there's some key tracks other than the 2 aforementioned singles, Toys, Love Protocol, Nighttime Walkers, and It Walks Among Us. Check that shit out. Faxis, Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures by Coheed and Cambria. Buy it!
Listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Motherfuckers.
At least stream it.
Do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah. I know you said you had some shit you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, there were some really good tracks that came out of Monstercast the last week. One of them actually isn't on Monstercast. He kind of did his own release separately from the label, which was really cool. Slippy, Say Something.
Yes.
Now, he has been pretty much knocking it out of the park nonstop for the last couple of releases, especially after he released Monster on Volume 5, I think it was. But Say Something, it's a very low-key trap. It has some interesting sound bits with it that kind of differentiate from the rest of the volume that he's done. Really good little trap sounding tune that he's done. Other than that, they have 2 of them on the label, which I was happy. One's on Instinct, one's on Uncaged. Well, actually, no. They're both on Instinct now that I think about it. Slumberjack and Machine Age came out with a really interesting take on electronic sound called Daggers. Had a very tribal sound to it. Has a really good guitar sounding drop that kind of had, and I only say this because every time I hear it, it vaguely reminds me of 2 Feet's Fuck You.
Oh yeah.
Kind of has that guitar kind of riff to it, just a little bit. And then the vocals are really good as well. Very punchy, very just just emotional in a way. But I'm just more torn towards that drop. It's so it's sexy and funky and just bluesy kind of sounding all in one. I really like it. And then they had a return of an artist that I have not seen since I think it was Volume 2 or 3. Rootkit came out with Take Me Higher. If you know Rootkit at all, he's more of a house producer, mostly than anything else he's done in the past. And it was pretty much a kind of a transy, emotional house, very euphoric kind of feel to it. It kind of takes you into a different mindset when you listen to it, very much like his last couple songs he's released, but not as hard-hitting as Levitate and stuff like that. This is a really good song too by him. Like I said, it's been a while since I heard his name hit the label, so it's really refreshing to hear the older models coming back. So
Yeah, it is. And it's funny you mentioned the older models coming back. And then you talked about Slippy doing a release that was outside of the label. I actually found out just recently, and I think Loki's excited about it. You can hear him meowing in the back. Listen. Meow. He's like, meow, yeah.
Monstercast.
Yeah, exactly. My cat likes, my cat is like,
my cat, meow.
My cat, meow. But speaking of artists that are doing shit outside of the label, Varian is actually returning with a new EP on October 26th. It's going to be called Death Asked a Question. Holy shit. It's 5 songs. But I think, honestly, the opening and closing are going to be instrumental, like little nuanced pieces. But he's got, obviously the title track, Death Ask a Question. Then the other songs that I've heard on it, which I can't wait till it comes out so I can buy the shit. The clips I've heard were Whore of Babylon and New Fetish. And these songs have a very... Yeah, I know, right, Loki? These songs have a very industrial feel to them. Very, very heavily, like, Nine Inch Nails influenced sound. Obviously his own, shtick in there. But this kind of has a throw to that era and a little bit of his earlier shit before the Ancient and Arcane EP dropped. Or the album, not the EP, sorry. It's got a little bit of that. And then there's obviously, some of my Prayers Have Become Ghosts.
That's what I was thinking when you said he was going industrial, because that was like the first time I've heard that style of him, before you mentioned it now. So I think that's going to be pretty cool to hear, because industrial is not really that prevalent anymore these days.
No, and I wish it were, honestly, because I feel like that there's a band that I watched whenever I saw him back in November last year. There was a band called Three Teeth that opened up for them, and it was very industrial sound. It sounded a lot like old school, like Ministry and shit like that, like the good stuff from like the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. I fucking loved it. And I'm not saying like this is actually that kind of stuff, but it's his style with the heavier stuff thrown in. He's done he's done shit like that before, obviously, on My Prayers Have Become Ghosts, which I fucking love that album so much. And this just seems like a little step further for him, and I'm excited for it because I fucking love this guy.
Very good.
It's Varian good.
Because I've been a big fan since Gunmetal Black, but what really impressed me the most with him was Ancient and Arcane when that released. So I pretty much got solidified as a fan of his since that point.
Yeah, but that's Death Asked a Question EP on October 26th.
Just in time for the spooky days.
That's what I'm saying, man. And it's cool because I know a lot of our favorite artists tend to do this shit. Like last year, fucking Tokyo Machine dropped Spooky on Halloween. It's coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the song.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah.
I can't wait to hear Monstercast like Call the Wild podcast and have the Halloween theme like they did last year, because it was spooky. They did Zach Waters' Freak. They did, I think it was a couple of the older tracks too, like they had Disco Zombie, I think it was.
Yep.
They did a couple of others like that. I can't wait to hear what they do for this one. Make it sound, it's going to take more of the older stuff again, or is it going to do like a lot of the newer stuff? We'll see. We'll see once that time comes.
Yeah.
That week.
Fuck yeah. And I guess that's going to... I feel like that kind of goes in what we're talking about today with horror kind of taking over pop culture in general. Like it's expanded into movies, music, television, comic books, novels,
gaming.
Yeah, gaming, even social media, like internet, based lore. Internet stuff has taken over the essential quote unquote campfire tales. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I say like because we're probably going to be all over the place with this, but honestly, music is a good place to start considering we just talked about it. I know I'm not going to get like overly detailed with a lot of these things because there's literally so much of it out there. We might get, into detail on a few things, but there's literally so much of it out there. It's really hard to, what I mean? Like we could probably sit here for like 6 fucking hours and talk about
Give or take.
Easily. But one band that always literally comes to mind anytime like horror or Halloween is mentioned is the Misfits.
Mm-hmm.
Every fucking time. Glenn Danzig Misfits, and then like Sam Hain, and then of course his project Danzig, which actually was born out of Sam Hain. And the Misfits had the skull logo, that iconic fucking skull logo, and it's horror punk. Like those guys, just I used to work. Shout out to my friend Becky. When I worked with her at an old job of mine, every year when Halloween would roll around, like I would hear Danzig like from the back of the office, and I would walk up front, and she would have like the internet radio, and she would have like Misfits and all kinds of shit playing, like literally like Halloween themed shit. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. So, music like that is, yeah.
You see what's interesting though is they don't do the same trope with music like in not so much the retail, but the consumer side of things. Like, how they do with Christmas? They start playing the music like super, super early in a lot of retail environments. They don't do the same thing that I noticed with Halloween, which I think is kind of like a stab. Like it doesn't literally.
Yeah.
But, it's the whole month is usually now being celebrated. So they don't play anything themed wise unless you go to a Halloween themed store.
Yeah.
Versus like you go, like even where I work, you walk in there like beginning of November, you're gonna start hearing Christmas music, and it's not even a themed place for that.
Yeah.
Versus anywhere else, you don't hear anything Halloween only on the day of. So maybe we can start pushing more of the Halloween-esque feel of it the whole month of October, not just the week of or the day of.
Exactly.
Because you have a lot of music already to play that's horror themed or Halloween themed or whatever you want to call it. So why not build a tradition with that now instead of just playing Christmas music early?
Yeah, because I remember like very few places I would go into that would have like the old Halloween or horror themed music, like Monster Mash. I mean, obviously it's a fucking staple, but they would have stuff like that, because I would, unless you're going into like a Hot Topic or some shit, you're not going to hear bands like Cradle of Filth, the 69 Eyes, AFI getting played during this stuff, which 69 Eyes, I fucking love those guys because, that band in general, they have the personification of, hey, we're fucking vampires. Their nicknames are the fucking Helsinki Vampires. Mm-hmm. Cradle of Filth, I guess that totes that line. Cradle of Filth is like an extreme metal band from the United Kingdom, and they don't go around saying, hey, we are like a Halloween themed band or a horror themed band, but just the topics they talk about in general, they're very much rooted in that style, and their style in general carries that torch, obviously. But I agree with you, like this shit should be month long, not just week of, not just day of. So fuck yeah, that's any musical artists come to mind for you? Or
no, I mean nothing that's been like horror themed or like scary or the terminology now spoopy.
Well, I know like there's a hip hop genre called horrorcore, like that's actually a thing.
That's like so far off the beaten path. Like it's hard to get into that, even if it's like during that time of year, basically.
Well, it's not even necessarily like just this time of year. Some of the stuff we're talking about like goes year round, which is really crazy to think about. Like what I was just mentioning, like the horrorcore. There are like 3-6 Mafia when they were still 666 Mafia. That was a thing. I think Tech 9 has done some horrorcore hip hop. Bizarre from D12, and D12 in general has done it. Twisted. You have artists like this that they do that style of music, and generally horrorcore is like just terrifying themed lyrics and crazy shit. So
well, the only song that comes to mind with that concept, like I don't venture too much into it because there's not anything that grasps my attention as much, but like Aerocord years ago, he did a experimental track called Psycho, and it has not really a lyrical basis. It has more of like a automatic voice that basically says more of like a psychotic kind of tone to it. If you leave me, I will, and it kind of stacks it out. but if you do this, I will kill you, and it repeats that. But the theme of the song, the basis of it has a lot of that, the horror element sounds, but is put into like a song form. Like you have like that stabbing sound, that dun, dun noise, but it's actually rhythmic, basically. That has a chainsaw in there. It has like this weird kind of like drop like sounds that make it sound creepy. So stuff like that, or like I said earlier, Zach Waters' Freak is very eerie, very creepy, and then it has the weird little drop on the second part that's just kind of like just unorthodox, I guess you can say. So that's about as extent as I go into when it comes to like the hardcore horror sounding stuff. I very
meow Loki.
I very rarely get into anything like heavily influenced, like real death sounding, you know?
Yeah.
Or metal. In a way.
I mean, oddly enough, like I don't really, I do and I don't. Like it's very, these days anyway, I don't really like go out of my way to listen to a lot of the heavier stuff. I do listen to it, but not as consistently as I did probably like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, that's god damn, I'm old. Fucking old as shit. I mean, you go from music into fucking television. You know, like music television.
MT Voorhees.
Dude, yeah, like Tales from the Crypt is the first thing that came to mind whenever we planned on doing this. Like, and I was thinking about TV shows.
The staple, yeah.
Okay, any child of the 80s and 90s grew up with The Crypt Keeper on HBO. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Staying up till like 11 or 12 at night.
To watch the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Just the fucking nostalgia. I remember being a child going to my aunt's house and they would have they had HBO, so like they would have like the cable on, and I remember being up late with my cousins and watching the fucking Tales from the Crypt, and I was like, holy shit, I fucking love it so much. And going back now and watching that stuff, it's funny the amount of actors and actresses that were on this show. Like Tom Hanks of all fucking people. Like everybody you can think of that is somebody was probably on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And that just proves right there that show spread like fucking wildfire, man. It lasted a long time. It had a couple of movies that had come out.
And then it had a kid-friendly version, Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
That
aired on, I think it was ABC, I believe.
Was it? Yeah.
I believe it was. Either that or the CBS, one of the two. But that, like I said, it spawned many other ideas from other people to go, well, if they can do it, we can do it as well. So you had not only the kid-friendly version, but then you had like Goosebumps when they wrote the books. Then they started making their own TV series in the 90s and actually, you know, live action, the actual books that they wrote. And then Are You Afraid of the Dark, which was the more serious version of the Goosebumps in a way.
I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark so much.
Mm-hmm.
That was my shit. Again, if you were a child of the 80s and 90s, like late 80s, mid 80s, late 80s, and then, you know, growing up into the 90s, every Saturday night on Nickelodeon, you would tune in to watch Clarissa Explains It All, Roundhouse, Ren and Stimpy, and Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was the classic Snick lineup back in the Gap. And Are You Afraid of the Dark was probably, like, dude, I say probably, it was actually fucking terrifying as a child to watch some of those episodes. The intro alone.
Not as terrifying as Tales from the Crypt, but, you know.
No. I mean, like, if you're... obviously, we were not sheltered kids, but, no. Like, you know, looking back, if you're going to compare kid shows with other kid shows, this was definitely, like, holy shit. Yeah. Because Goosebumps would air in the afternoon.
Yeah. Like, if you had, like, a consistency of, like, okay, this is for this level, Tales from the Crypt Keeper was, like, the real kid-friendly. Goosebumps was a slight step up from that. Are You Afraid of the Dark was more for the teens. And then Tales from the Crypt is like, okay, if you like horror...
if you like horror and tits, please watch this.
Tales from the Tits.
Yes!
Tales of the Tits.
Fucking love that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I want a fucking Crypt Keeper, like, puppet so fucking bad.
Need an animatronic. Just him sitting on the couch.
just sitting there.
Let me read you a book.
Like, just sitting there. I want to put that motherfucker on the couch and not tell Aiden about it and just let him come home to that shit one day. He'd probably look at it and be like, what the hell is that?
He'd be like, oh, that's cool.
Probably. Like, it wouldn't even work. He'd probably just look at it and look at me like, seriously, Dad?
Yes.
Yes, Aiden.
Do you not know who I am?
Do you not know who I am? I am your father, and I put...
I'm the father not, bitch.
I am the father not. I am actual walking dad joke.
Mm.
Like, me, myself, I am a dad joke.
Because he's a dad, and he makes jokes.
But, I mean... Oh, God, but TV shows, even shows like Twin Peaks. I mean, it was a different kind of horror. It was very, very surreal, though. Like, Twin Peaks was such a surreal show. Like, David Lynch was just like, I fucking love that series so much. It was amazing. Then, bleeding into a lot of the shit today, you've got series like Supernatural that is still fucking going, and that show's been on for
12 seasons.
God, dude, since 2005.
Which that's more of the action drama version of horror, so it's not completely scary as other plays would do it.
Yeah.
And then you would have stuff like Black Mirror, which was more of like
the technological side, right?
Yeah, it's the technological side, but it's more of the psychological thriller, the mind horror.
Mm-hmm.
What would this do to you if this actually happened this way? How would your mind be affected with whatever? So you have stuff like that, and then you get into an actual horror series like American Horror Story, which has been going for like 8 seasons now.
I think so.
And we're on Apocalypse, which is supposed to be dealing with the Holocaust, the nuclear Holocaust, of if there was a World War III and nukes were shot everywhere, destroying pretty much all of civilization up to a point, what do you do? Last season of Cult was based on the political side of things of horror, like, how our government's controlling certain aspects of how humanity runs, how civilizations operate. And then any other theme before that, you had like Asylum, which was based on like the insane asylums, the mental horror, stuff like that. You had Hotel, which was kind of, I don't know how to explain Hotel. It was kind of like a film noir as kind of like supernatural feel to it, but with Lady Gaga and her sexual lust.
American Hotel Story, American Horror Story, Hotel, Motel, Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
I actually remember catching a couple of episodes when Lady Gaga was on there, and God, it was out there.
Yeah, that wasn't their strongest season. She was also on Roanoke, which was a little bit better. That one was more of like a reality TV series, but that fleshed into the actual reality itself. Like, they would have the actors portray the people who went through it, but now all of them are encountering what's actually happening. So that was a really interesting take. Still, by far, my favorite season is Coven, because that was all based on the voodoo of Louisiana back in New Orleans. That supernatural aspect, the witches, stuff like that, the voodoo priestess and all that with Marie Laveau and all that stuff. It was so well done. The people who acted in there were so well, in their character.
Felt authentic.
Yeah, they were very authentic. Other than that, I liked Murder House, which is the original season that came out.
Moida.
Dude, like, if you died in that house, you're pretty much haunting that house, and it was just so twisted in so different ways. Like, that's you can see how that series took off the way it did.
Dude, speaking of haunted, did you see the trailer for this? I actually have like a couple of Netflix series that are coming out that I was going to mention. This one right here is called Haunted, and it's people that they're being interviewed telling like their real stories about shit, and it had literally ranged from everything from the way the trailer did it. It looked like one of them did like kind of an abduction one, and then another one did I want to say like night terror. Like I had it was like a night terror for them, basically like sleep paralysis. And it's crazy because this actually is going to drop I think mid-month on Netflix, but the way the trailer looked and the way the I guess the camera angles and just like how you can look at a movie and tell that the same person that did such and such did this one. This reminds me a lot of, there was a documentary, I think it's called The Nightmare or something like that. I want to say it's called like The Nightmare, and I really feel bad because I don't have anything to fucking look that up with, but basically, that documentary was about people that experience sleep paralysis, and Haunted does kind of the same premise. Is the people that are talking about it, as they're talking about it and telling their story, they have like a reenactment thing happening with all this shit. So it puts a visual with their story, and it looks so fucking cool. So I say that it's fucked up too, because like these people were really probably scared out of their fucking lives, and I'm sitting here going, "That's so cool."
Yeah, and now they have to actually see like a retelling of what they actually went through, but in a different perspective.
Yeah, and that right there had my interest immediately. I was like, "Holy crap, I have to see this," because I love that documentary, and I need to read up and see if the same people did it, because it looks like they did. And if not, they definitely took influence from it.
Right.
The other Netflix one was, I just saw the trailer for The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. It looks pretty decent, honestly. I think the same people that did Riverdale are doing it, but it's going to be on Netflix, so obviously it's going to be a little darker, a lot darker, probably more violent.
I was about to say, Riverdale was pretty intense at some points. I did see all of that season.
As it's crazy they're taking, which obviously Sabrina the Teenage Witch, if for those of you out there that don't know what I'm talking about, it's the Sabrina reboot that we were all fucking worried about. And I was like that, like, because they're doing this, and then they're talking about doing a Buffy reboot, which Buffy the Vampire Slayer was actually another thing as far as like TV series.
That was like what, 90s? Yeah,
like very late 90s.
But even then, like there was that like what was that series? There was like some witches. It wasn't like Sabrina. I can't think of the name of it.
Oh, I feel dumb now.
But yeah, it was like the 90s like time frame where you had a horror theme to it, but it wasn't scary enough to feel like actual horror. Buffy kind of goes along with Supernatural. It's more of a thriller drama or a horror drama to a degree. So you get the elements of like, oh, there's these creatures that could haunt me at any time, but at the same time, it's like, well, I fell in love with this person because they knew how to kill a vampire real fast. Stuff like that.
He's an angel.
Yeah. Like everybody's all about Cassiel from Supernatural because he's a great character, but also he's like, I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah.
But it takes away from...
Misha Collins is awesome.
Yeah. He's a really cool guy. But it takes away from the scary part, the like actual horror element, because it's like toned down, it's watered down to a degree where anybody can relate to it or watch it, but it kind of just steers away people who actually, really want to see something scary out of this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of has this balance, I guess, with any of those series like that. And I can't think of that series.
With the witches?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I don't know.
Fuck. If you out there know exactly what we're talking about, come put it on our Facebook page. Like, come and post on our wall and be like, "You dumb motherfuckers, this is it." And say it just like that. "You dumb motherfuckers, ... This is the show."
Right.
Be sure to post a GIF or a photograph of the show.
Now, you mentioned the sleep paralysis part. How about we venture into, because it's kind of a segue from the Tales from the Crypt and like Goosebumps, the whole internet sensation with creepypasta.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, like, creepypasta and the No Sleep forum on Reddit are probably two of the biggest draws for internet lore, like horror-based internet lore. And holy shit, a lot of this stuff is just, it's all creative, but fuck, dude, like there are a shit ton of them that just kind of stick with you.
Because, I mean, if you really think about the progression of the campfire tales or the bedtime stories or anything like that, you went from actually being around each other and telling these stories to now everything is all digital, so who has time for that?
Yeah.
So you can pretty much share that all over the world, and that's pretty much where everybody's like, hey, if I can sell this idea or, put this idea out there. Let's see where it goes. Here you go. We have No Sleep and you have Creepypasta.
And a fuckload of total strangers, too.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. Because I even had some stuff written down, because I know you have a lot of them off the top of your head, too. And I did, too, but I just wanted to make sure to mention specific ones from each of them, which obviously anybody that listens to us, you know our opinion on this shit. But if this is your first listen the fuck up.
Because I'm actually doing a 31-day of horror with creepypastas, and I'm venturing away from more of the common ones. So I'm reading up on some that people actually have posted that haven't been, widely recognized. And so far, I've come across some really interesting ones. There's one called Feathers. Deals with the guy, he grew up with an obsession of feathers. He got to the point where he had a whole basement full of boxes of nothing but feathers. Got to the point where he ground up some of them and ate some. And his parents, they grew kind of, concerned about him. So they treated him for psychiatrists treated him and stuff like that. And he eventually got over it. Well, years later, he's in college and he has a kid and stuff like that. Well, he ends up going to find a laptop for some kind of project he's doing. And he happens to go down to the same basement that his parents, put the feathers in. All were gone except for one box. And he happened to find the one box, going through everything, had that relapse.
One box to rule them all.
To ruin them all. So he ends up picking the box up, going to his car with his son, drives off to this, I think it's like a motel or some kind of random building.
It's the American Horror Story Hotel.
Yeah, it would fit in this situation. He goes on the roof with his son, grabs a screwdriver and pokes holes in his body.
Oh.
Starts putting the feathers inside the holes. Oh. And tells his son, while he's in traumatic phase right now, tells his son to climb on his back. And he proceeds to jump off the edge. Yeah, trying to think he can fly.
Wilhelm scream.
Yeah.
Shit. No.
Just to give you an idea of what people creative-wise are coming up with now.
Yeah. And I listened to the No Sleep podcast a fuckload because, I would go look for these on the forums, but it's so cool to hear them done with voice actors and done with what's the word I'm looking for? Inflection. It's nice to hear the inflection of these people's voices. There's a few of them, obviously, like the Penpal series. I mentioned it a lot, but Penpal is a great fucking 6-story set. But two of them that I really was just fucking disturbed by. One was called Correspondence, and it deals with these two friends that email back and forth to each other, but every time the emails get sent back and forth, it becomes more and more sinister on the one side. And it's pretty much it goes to really fucking very, very fucking dark places. And hearing it done on there, oh my god. And fucking, I made the mistake of putting that shit on random and falling asleep to it because, I'm a rebel. Fuck you. I'm going to get some sleep to the No Sleep. Mm-hmm. So I woke up to that one episode, and in the middle of it, just hearing this digitized satanic sounding voice reading this email, I was like, oh, fuck me. I was awake. Just wide the fuck awake.
No sleep.
Literally. I was like, you win. Yep. You always do.
Now where are you at?
And the other one that I do like to listen to, just because it's interesting and I like it, is Butcherface. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or have listened to it. Holy shit. The Butcherface saga on there is really fucking cool. And just the story in general. It's about these friends that find this bag of videotapes in a house they're helping to clean out. And these videotapes all have this one guy just doing these really fucked up things, in front of a camera. And the way they describe it is there's one where he fucking takes his dick out, puts it on the table, and smashes a hot iron against it, and then limps over to the camera, cuts it off. And every time he does it, he'll walk over and cut the camera off. One, he would he'd like kill a small animal or like cut his fingers off, something like that. And what happens is they keep going down this fucking rabbit hole of trying to figure out who the fuck this guy is, and it's apparently spread everywhere. Like it gets to the point where they figure out, oh shit, this was in our neighborhood. This was being recorded in the fucking house that we were cleaning. All this shit. Mm-hmm. And I'm not spoiling anything, but again, it's a rabbit hole that you can't get out of once you start going down.
See,
that's what these do.
Yeah, they have another one I came across called The Cold, where it's one that makes you think in a different perspective about illness and disease, because one of the very first lines that pop up says it always starts with a cold. So it goes off with the random Joe Dirt or Joe Dane or whoever you want to call him,
Joe Dirte, and he's or she basically encountering just cold-like symptoms, and it progresses to the point where mentally the symptoms start to worsen. Start having these really random thoughts to the point where days later he's going psychotic, and next thing you know he has like murderous thoughts, very dark thoughts, even like suicidal thoughts and tendencies. And every paragraph it says, just remember, it always starts with a cold. So it makes you wonder, like, does like maybe the zombie infection really start off with something minor to the point where it drives you to this point? Or is there really something out there that makes you feel so sufferable that it just drives you insane? So you never know. Fuck that.
Especially nowadays.
God damn. Yeah, dude, like,
I can see like a couple episodes or something, like me and you voicing over like some of these stories.
Oh, I would love to do that.
That'd be pretty cool.
We should do that.
Dude, like, I've always had this obsession with making film adaptations of creepypasta stories that haven't been done yet. And, I mean, there's one that I really want to do, but that will take a lot of time to make. But that'd be really awesome to, like, see, like, visually see the horror rather than just hear the horror, make your imagination come to life. Because maybe you'll sit there and look at it and be like, somebody go, oh, well, I thought of that just exactly like that. And then other people are like, oh, I never would have saw it like that.
Fuck yeah. That would actually be fun to do, like to take a couple of, not like very long-winded ones, but take like a couple of shorter stories, fucking read them, like on air right here. That'd be fun.
But not like, this creepypasta is this. Oh, this happened. No, it's like, it all started. You're fucked.
This reminds me of a fucking post I made the other day on fucking Facebook. It was like, oh my god, I can't even remember what I said, but basically, it was like, oh yeah. Both sides of the interstate were backed up, going east and westbound. So I was like, yeah, Interstate 10 looking like, and it's a picture of the guy from Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare holding up that map, and it's like, you're fucked, written really big on the map. Well, the map says we're fucked. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So
what was I just thinking of? Oh yeah, the story tonight is called LaCroix. Glub. Ah!
That's it. That's all you.
Because anybody opening a can of that shit, that's terrifying. Why? Why do you drink potpourri water?
LaCroix for LaCroix.
The Indian tears. The face, just him crying. It's not because you littered. It's the fact that you're drinking that.
It's nasty. It's trash.
Just think of that next time you think about buying a box of that, if not a can.
By the way, I have enjoyed this last week on social media. I have had so many people. Again, I don't even know if it's a fucking true story or not, but apparently there was some kind of lawsuit against it or some shit, and everybody fucking was like, some people I hadn't even talked to in a while, just fucking tagging me in all this shit. I'm just like, this is great. Oh my god, this is amazing.
Calling you on your bullshit.
That's right, fuckers. But I digress.
Your fruit-flavored urine water.
You're in trouble. Fuckers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I digress. I die. Gress. Die. Gress. So yeah, that's pretty much internet lore and things of that nature.
Internet lore whore.
Lore.
Lore.
Let's get fun with it. Let's talk about some toys.
Ooh.
So, I don't know if you guys remember this. Some of you do. I'm pretty sure most of you do. So, there was a slew of just randomness as children with toys. You could turn on the TV and see commercials for shit, and you're just like, "What is this? What?" But I have to have it. But what the fuck is this? Mad Balls.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Mad Balls? They were very mad, and they were balls. They were mad balls.
They were ballsy for making that.
Dude, I fucking loved those things, though. Basically, like, for those of you that don't even know what it is, and if you don't know what it is, please crawl out from underneath the rock that you were under. Mad Balls were these little squeezable, like, caricature things, and it was literally a ball, but they had, like, little characters where, like, some of them were, like, zombified mummies. They were stitched together, and they were all comedic looking, but, dude, that's what I'm talking about as far as, like, horror just kind of venturing elsewhere. Even if it's not scary, it's, like, they go out of their way to make it like that. You had stuff like that.
Creepy crawlers.
I was just about to fucking say creepy
crawlers.
Guys.
They're squirmy. They're wormy.
You little ones out there, you had the easy bake oven. And it was just like, hey, let's do some creepy crawlers, man.
Creepy bake oven, you mean?
Oh my fucking God. That is the truth. It's the easy bake oven and the creepy bake oven. Creepy Beethoven.
Yeah. What?
Creepy Beethoven.
What?
Creepy Beethoven.
I'm gonna just play my piano.
All right, cool, yeah.
So yeah, creepy
oven,
creepy bake oven, aka creepy crawlers. You literally had an oven that had the little light bulb that would overheat your stuff to bake them, but you get these gel like concoctions in the mold of, you know, centipedes and crickets and roaches and shit.
Oh my God, what if they had the human centipede and it was like a creepy crawler centipede?
Wow.
That's where my brain fucking went.
Why haven't they done that yet?
Maybe it was because we need to do it. Not us, but we need to make this.
No, we're not doing centipedes.
No, we need to make this.
Yeah. But yeah, you put the
human
mold...
centipede. I'm sorry, the human centipede, the video game centipede.
Ew. Plug it into play.
Oh, press B to blow.
Blech.
Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
So you pour the goop into the mold, you put it in the oven, basically bake them, and then they come out these little floppy, gummy-looking, creepy things.
Floppy crawlers.
That you know, scare your sister with, or just, you know, be a weirdo like the rest of us and just have them. You know, I had one. I had fun with it for a little bit of time until I ran out of goop, and then I never got any more because my mom was just like, "No, you don't need that."
Goop juice.
Goop juice.
Pour some goop juice on it.
Are you splashed with goop juice?
Goop juice. Goop juice. Woo.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh my God. And then it was kind of like a play on like, oh, if they made it, which is so fucking dumb, but it was like, if they made this for girls, we got to make something for boys. It's like Polly Pocket. And then it was like Mighty Max. I had a shitload of Mighty Max toys. I say a shitload. I think I had like 3 of them, but to me it was a shitload.
Yeah.
And it was like the answer to Polly Pocket. It was just this little take and play, itty bitty, like micro action figure sets of different displays within the Mighty Max universe.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking loved that shit. And it was so fucked up. I still remember to this day when Service Merchandise was open. I remember going in the store and seeing the big ass, like, mountain, like, to me it was big. It was like the big red mountain, like, I can't remember the name of the toy, but it was Mighty Max, and it was just this big ass, like, red mountainous cave looking thing. Basically, it was like
big ass.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I want it.
Mm-mm.
I want it so bad. I never did get it. And I was like, fuck. Now sad. I has a sad now.
I'm trying to remember other toys back in that era that were like scary or horror. I mean, that was like the main ones that I can think of.
Well, I mean, then you have like when you get further into like, you know, growing up, you had like the McFarlane stuff.
Yeah. Like the actual like legit detail like action figures
like
and stuff.
Freddy, Jason, Michael, Leatherface.
But those have become more collectibles than actual.
But still,
yeah,
like the fact that we've even got them are fucking cool.
Yeah, like this. I think the Spawn kind of brought that all to life, and then you had stuff like Hellboy, I think, and then all the horror elements, horror icons.
I love shit like that, and they're actually bringing that back. McFarlane Toys is bringing. I think we actually shared that on our Facebook page.
Yeah, that was a while back.
Yeah, they're bringing back their horror characters.
Yes.
I can't fucking wait. I'm gonna get my hands on that motherfucking Freddy Krueger I never got to get.
Mm-hmm.
And like, shout out to our boy Jeff from The Wrong Company. They need to go ahead and bring back that fucking Army of Darkness Ash figure. Because I never got that either, Jeff.
You know, speaking of that, let's not forget to mention the pop vinyls too, because they're going to be a pop vinyl or pretty much anything horror. You know, you have Alien, you have Freddy Krueger. I see Ash and Jason over there. I mean, you have anything that is now pop.
That's right.
And you can play with it, you can collect it. It's the same thing as an action figure now.
Yep.
Just smaller.
I like stuff like that. Collectibles are fun. Action figures are fun. Like, everything is fun. Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
But now, from the toy side, we can kind of play with these too. How about we go into video games?
I would absolutely enjoy going into video games.
Because, I mean, we had so many years of, like, the main AAA companies making a horror idea game or adapting a common concept to a horror. Like, we have, like, the Alien series being made into video games. You have Doom, stuff like that. But here in the last, I want to say, like, 3 to 5 years, they've been having a lot of, like, indie developers or Steam developers come out with their own take on a horror game or something scary in general, and it'd be completely different than what we're used to. Because you see, like, on YouTube, like, a lot of the gamers, the Let's Players, they're doing a lot of series where there's like, I'm going to play a couple of games that are horror because they're not long enough to be a whole video, or they'll have like an extended series of one game to make it, the full like 2 to 3 hour long video game that it is. And, you have like, I was watching one recently called Visage. Man, that one was one of the more legit ones they came out with over the last couple of years.
Did you watch Mark or Jack's playthrough of it?
Both.
Yeah, I did too. And they're good. What was the one I was telling you about? Not Transcendence, it's something else.
Transference.
Yes. Holy shit, that was fucking weird. It was more sci-fi, but it was pretty fucking scary too. And while we're on that topic, just the because we're going to delve further, obviously, but while I'm thinking about it, it's crazy what's considered horror now as far as the games, like Baldies Basics.
See, it's not technically horror unless you really analyze the internal part of it. Because yes, you're in a school that it's like white walls and just innocent looking, but you're being chased by a principal with a ruler. Now, I had a nightmare years ago when I was a kid where I was running from this random person that I felt intimidated by. It was an adult, basically. But it was going through, like, completely white wall with doors. And it was just nothing but doors, like, one after another. And I would close the one behind me, and I would look behind me, and this person was just casually walking through each one like it was nothing. While I'm, like, booking my fucking ass.
I hate that,
to
dude.
get out of it. That's the kind of concept with Baldi's Basics. It's crudely polygon, like geometric shaped characters, or just like poorly scribbled characters, like on 2D planes. But you're going.
The game was basic itself.
Yeah, it was super basic. It was like if you ever played on the old Windows like computer games.
Oh my god, it looks like the Windows screensaver when you're like, you know what I'm talking about? The one where you're going through the fucking
like the
maze?
brick wall maze.
Yeah,
it was exactly like that. But you're going through a school, find these notebooks that you have to solve the math problems with, but you could never answer the third one right.
Yeah, no matter how much. And it was just so fucking difficult you really couldn't answer it.
So at this point, it wasn't about trying to answer them right. It was just trying to get all of them to get out of the school before Baldi basically spanks you with his stick.
He gonna spank you hard, man.
And the more you find, the faster he becomes. So you start hearing that.
The more you find, and it's a ruler that shoots across instead of a star.
The more you measure.
Ew.
But yeah, they went from the basic side of things to now there's an Unreal Engine adaptation of it where it's more terrifying now.
It's the Baldi's Unreal Basics.
So there's one where he's going through a like overgrown, like it took over the school, like nature kind of thing.
Goulet.
He basically has these like memories he has to find, and Baldy is not his normal look. It's like a black and white with these white ass eyes that's like creepy as fuck, and you still kind of hear the when he's getting closer.
Fuck that.
Yeah, so you don't hear the normal. You hear just that creepy like ambiance.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Fuck that.
But that's the thing, like they're considering horror now. It's not, creepy monsters or gore or, poltergeist or, anything like that. It's something that would normally terrify you and amplifying it basically.
Yeah. And there's some classic games too, and some obscure games. I have a couple of them, like in particular, I'm going to talk about soon, or like a little bit later. But as far as horror, a lot, like you were saying with the Steam community, it's becoming such a thing now that a lot of indie developers, like you said, they're cranking out really good games, and it's cool to see people get creative. But as far as like the shit that we grew up with, I mean, obviously you had like Resident Evil and shit like that. Like,
Silent Hill.
Yeah, Silent Hill, Resident Evil. Obviously those are two fucking staples. Like Pyramid Head haunts my fucking face all the time.
Legit.
He's a motherfucker for that shit.
I even dressed up as him for Halloween one year. I found that picture, and I'm happy I found it, but it was just crudely put together. But I had like a cardboard box that shaped his pyramid head. Put that on. I had like a wooden block, like a wooden piece of wood that made into the blade with like blood on it, and I had like a bloody apron, some like latex to make the scars on my body. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I want to know how you got those scars, dude. It'd be really funny if we were just a couple of assholes for Halloween this year. Hey, let's not go as Pyramid Head. Let's go as fucking Cylinder Head. Let's go as Isosceles Triangle Head.
Let's go as Egghead. Oval Head. Every episode is now going to be featured with that.
That's right.
It's going to be excellent content.
Always. So,
boy, that would be funny though.
Oh my god. No, there was there was one in particular that I was thinking about that I remember. Oh, what the fuck was it called, dude? It's like uninvited. It wasn't even so much like playing the game. It's like I remember seeing the covers of some of these games and be like, "Oh, fuck this." I think it was called Uninvited or something like that. But I know this game actually drew its influence from a Dario Argento film. And the game is called Clock Tower. Have you ever heard of Clock Tower?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that game is fucked up. That was one of, not the first, but I remember it being, as far as like relevant to the multiple ending aspect. Like if you play the game a certain way, you get a certain ending. And I remember that being like a thing with that, was if you played the game a certain way or did certain things, made certain choices, or whatever,
it would affect the rest of the line.
Yeah. And holy shit, dude, fuck, that game is scary as shit, because there's no if I remember correctly, there's no score to it. It's just the sound effects. And fuck that shit. If you want to see what I'm talking about, like, there are several fucking playthroughs on YouTube. You can watch a full playthrough of this game on YouTube, and make sure that you find the PC version, because there's like a PlayStation 1 version, there is a PC version, but make sure you find like the one that was the computer based one.
I mean, one of the most horrifying like video game villains was the scissor dude.
Yep.
That would literally just like hustle over to you with his big old freaking shears trying to chase you down.
It was sheer terror.
Yeah. You could not cut it.
No. Oh my god. Speaking of sheer, do you remember, this jumps back to TV for a hot second, Rhonda Shear, Up All Night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was always like a fucking double play of horror movies at night on TV with that shit. Edited for television, of course, but fuck. Any fucking way.
But speaking of like old school, there was a game that I was wanting to see played again. I just couldn't get access to it. You remember Ghoul School?
Oh yeah,
that little side scroller where you had to go through your high school and actually kill monsters.
Yeah.
Man, I watched a little miniature playthrough of that game. It was like bringing so many memories back to me. Old NES game.
Speaking of old, do you remember the game Night Trap?
Yeah, it was the little teenagers. They had to guide through the house.
Oh my god, and it was so fucking corny.
Yeah, because it was live action, like cinematography, but it was all choice based. Like you tell the girls exactly what to do, stuff like that. But at the same time, it was kind of risque because it was just, them in their underwear acting all like innocent. Oh, what do we do? Oh my God. And it was just like these random dudes, strangers coming in there trying to, take them or kill them or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was pretty risque back in the day when they released it too.
Yeah.
I think it got flack for being released to like the kids and stuff like that to play.
Well, guess what's coming to the Nintendo Switch this month? Night Trap.
Oh, I know.
Get ready to switch it up.
To get trapped.
Nintrap. Nintrapto. I know, Loki. It's freaky, right? Okay, don't talk to me then.
You know what game I've been wanting to play since it came out, but I never had a way to play it, was Dead by Daylight.
Fuck, dude, yeah, because I think there's a few mods. Is there a Jason mod on there? I saw that there was a Michael Myers mod recently.
Yeah, there's a Michael Myers mod that I saw that was really cool.
Michael Modders.
Modders. Like in Modders.
Moddenfield.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter anymore. You have crushed my Haddonfield of dreams. Rest in peace, my dreams. That's Jason. I like my mug over there.
Yep.
Fuck yeah. There's a ton of games I could talk about, but I mean, like really, I was talking about those because like obscure as shit, but one funny and one not so funny. Like holy crap, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember the name of the and I feel ridiculous now because I know what Dario Argento film it is. It's got Jennifer Connelly in it.
I'm drawing a blank. So
yeah, and as again, I am a big old stupid because I had this on my Plex account and I can't remember it. And I'm so sad.
It's okay.
But I'm so sad.
It's okay.
Oh, okay. What? Fuck you.
No, Baldy. That's not my bum.
Right in the face. In the face.
For the fire.
His voice in that shit, dude.
Answer all the questions correctly. But no, I just thought it was funny. Like every time he did the arcade mode with the campfire, let's go camping. Go grab some wood in the forest. I'll go lay some traps down. Make sure you keep up with the fire. The more wood you get, the more points you get for the fire.
The more wood.
The more wood. But it was funny because in that sequence, like if the fire got to the point where it extinguished, you just see him pop out of the fire, and he just with that fucking ruler in the middle of the woods. Creepy as shit.
No, that did not rule. Did not rule.
No rules. Just fright.
Phenomena.
Da, 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 da.
No, phenomena.
I know.
Phenomena, man. Phenomena. Nope, that's the name of the Dario Argento film.
There
Phenomena. I was like, what? I know it starts with that's it. A
wolf in sheep's clothing.
So, swinging over to the comics / books side of things for this. 30 Days of Night.
Ooh.
I fucking love that so much. The movie was okay. God damn, the book was so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah. The art style, man.
I remember watching on Mojo. They had it was two versions of Marvel. It was like a zombie adaptation, and then there was like a super dark like concept where I think a lot of the heroes were getting killed off for no fucking reason or something like that. But I noticed that a lot of the bigger wigs are starting to take, their heroes different directions, but there are horror elements to it outside of like some characters that are horror. But yeah, like the zombie one was the one that stuck out the most. And then I think one of the top ones they mentioned was like a darker side to the heroes outside of like, the normal tropes. But I can't think of what it's called.
Is it House of Z?
I think
it is. It's something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, like just, standing outside of like the normal spooky stuff like, Spawn and Hellboy and stuff like that, and 30 Days of Night and stuff like that. But the comic side, they're, not just going straight on like, well, we like this concept, we'll keep going with it. They'll branch off to like different versions of it, and that's a prominent example that came to mind too. So
what about like like manga like Hellsing, things like that? Because you had that, and then I mean, obviously, like horror like goes across like regular comics and like fucking manga and shit. The Walking Dead started as a comic book. It wasn't always a TV series. Y'all.
And look at it now.
Look at you. Look at you. You're dying as we speak.
And then there's a Telltale Games version of it called The Walking Dead. It's a story element version of it. Which
Rest in peace, Telltale Games.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
They also had a werewolf one too.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
What was that called?
I don't remember.
Fuck.
But I remember those two. But anyway, I blanked out. You were mentioning Walking Dead being a comic. Oh, manga. Yeah, like, I mean, they had stuff like Hellsing. They had Trinity Blood Plus, all based around either very intense scary or just like the subtle scary. I mean, that's a lot of it's better in the manga form than it is in the anime form, unless you get the right people to produce it based or the animate it. But yeah, there's that. Like Death Note, it can be considered horror because you literally have like the supernatural side with the modern day side kind of collaborating with each other to create like a suspenseful thriller horror element to it.
It's kind of like Wicked City when we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Then what else do they have? There's some.
Would you consider it's not so much like horror based, but characters in general, would you consider Carnage and Venom to be horrific characters?
I mean, look at their backstories.
Yeah.
I mean, they're two psychopaths. Well, one's a psychopath, the other one's just really angry about life in general. They're just killing people. I mean,
Carnage.
Yep.
But
pure chaos.
Yes. Now, movies. Obviously, where it all started. Completely back in the gap. You've had like the Universal Studios monsters. You had like Frankenstein's monster. You had Dracula. You had Bride of Frankenstein. You had Creature from the Black Lagoon. The Mummy. You know what I mean? Like classic shit.
The Wolfman.
Yeah. You had all this stuff that has breathed life into everything we now know today. Those were, hey, these are all the fucking like people like, obviously like 2-3 probably, generations before us grew up with that shit. Mm-hmm. Then you get to us, we grew up with Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface,
Chucky.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, dude, did you hear about the Child's Play? Now, here's the fucked up thing. I'm going to get off on a tangent because I always do.
Go ahead.
The Child's Play franchise is still going with the original director and everything. Like everything from Child's Play to 2, 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, then Curse and Cult of Chucky. Tell me why. Even though they consider this franchise to be healthy, because even though it's direct to video, they're still like making them and they're still turning a profit. They're doing a Child's Play remake where the doll is robotic. No, thank you. I've even seen the doll. It looks just like Chucky that we all know and love. But I don't want to give my fucking money to this movie because
it takes away from the actual idea of what actually happened. You have a serial killer melding his soul with the doll to where he has to continue on as a 3-foot tall rubber entity basically.
He's obviously struck again. Listen.
Yeah, I know. So I was like waiting for the police to come pop, and I was like, "Who's talking about Chucky?"
No, they're probably coming over here to pick the kid up off the porch that you knocked out. Fuck. Hold on.
Please stand by. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know who that is. Yeah, there's a reason that caution, watch your step sign is right there.
Obviously, they can't read.
Yeah, I guess he fell. I don't know what happened. Oh, his parents. Okay. Yeah,
Spot
I don't
time.
know. Okay.
That kid was getting pretty ripe.
Okay, thank you, officer. Appreciate it.
They finally picked him up.
Yeah. The boy's parents were quite concerned.
It took them an hour to do that.
Yeah, I mean, things take a long time.
Well, apparently, your life is not that important.
No.
You can't play with a child.
Child's play. Anyway, where was I at?
A robotic Chucky.
Okay.
That's not gonna do well.
That's not gonna fly with me for two reasons. One, robotic Chucky. The fuck. Yeah. Two, Don Mancini, the guy behind the original franchise. There's a Child's Play television series that is being adapted right fucking now to continue what's happened in the 6 films that we've had. Why the fuck are you trying to reboot? It's fucked up. You're gonna do a reboot in the middle of a healthy franchise. Fuck that shit.
I don't know.
I got angry. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Hey, I'm just happy that kid got dragged off the porch and he's going home. He probably won't even remember what the fuck happened, honestly.
Amnesia.
The Dark Descent.
Mm-hmm. Another good game series.
That's a fucking excellent game series.
But yeah, you were talking about movies like they're adapting Slender Man right now into a film.
Oh, it's already came and went.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it already happened. I went and saw it. That's another thing I forgot.
I thought they were releasing it next year for some reason.
No, it came out. Oh, it definitely came out.
Okay.
I saw it. Would you like to hear about it?
I don't really care,
okay.
honestly.
Okay, well,
that fad is beyond like drawn out.
Well, I'm gonna put you through it anyway.
This is the scary part.
This is the scary part. No, the scary part is the fact that the character itself, like on screen and in the movie, they got it right. The story around it, fuck that. There was literally one scene in that whole movie that actually got me. One. Right. Everything else, paint by the numbers. It may as well have been The Ring.
Gotcha.
Other than that,
don't surprise me.
Was disappointing because they like getting the design and getting the character itself right, and they fucked the rest of it up.
Defeats the purpose of watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spend $8 to watch one scene.
No, there's a slender chance of there being a sequel, which actually pisses me off. I don't want a sequel. Like we've discussed this before. I wanted something that was going to give us films for the creepypasta stuff. But
which they're slowly adapting a different like selection of them here and there. Like they had Channel Zero doing different ones.
That's still going too, which is good.
So we may have some hope for the internet sensations yet after the failure of Slender Man, which is the biggest one of the group, surprisingly.
Yeah, and I feel like there were better stories than that. I think it's just because that one's the most widely received and
it's already been made into a video game and just overly done in every possible way. So
I prefer the video games actually.
Yeah, the original one.
Yeah,
but it's just me.
That's yeah. I don't really have much else to say.
I'm good.
I really don't.
I was just worried about that kid getting ripe on the steps.
Yeah.
Calling a bit concerned.
Well, I guess there's not going to be a Super Media Bros podcast lawsuit.
Oh darn! I was kind of hoping to sit in the courthouse and narrate everything over the microphone and be like, "Is it okay if we like record this?" No, well, we're gonna do it anyway since we're going fucked anyway.
Those motherfuckers like, we're gonna sue them, and we're gonna get that Super Media Bros money.
Super.
It's free real estate.
Yeah. What? Yeah, this table.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
This
all you own.
table, these microphones, this Kylo Ren action figure, my
And
pen,
our Legos.
and no, you can have the table, you can have the mics, you can have this laptop. Do not take our fucking Lego, man.
We will not Lego.
He's not lying.
No.
You can figure the rest of it out.
You're not toying with us.
Not at all. You fucking blockheads. Any fucking way.
All you lawyers and judges beware. Do not dare.
Do not. I did not. I'm trying to think if there was anything I missed.
I'm good.
I think I'm good too. I think.
As he scans.
Yeah, everything's like literally crossed out. Okay, look, guys.
Cool.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for listening to us. It should go without saying, but I want to say this. We want to say this. We always want to say this. Thank you for listening to us wherever you're listening to us, however you're listening to us. If you are listening to us on iTunes, fuck
Good
yeah.
on you.
Yeah, good on you. Rate, review, and subscribe. Do that shit. SoundCloud listeners,
Fuck
thank
yeah.
you. Fuck yeah. Stitcher and Podbean,
Have at it.
do it all the time. Player FM, fuck yeah. Thank you guys so much. We are still hard at work on the YouTube channel because rendering these videos and loading them has been a motherfucker because this shit takes forever.
Chore and a half.
But we are working on it. We are hoping to have the YouTube channel launched by Halloween. So keep your fucking fingers crossed, but we will definitely let you know as soon as an actual release date happens.
Quit harassing us, you two. They keep asking. We're trying. Okay?
You two YouTube.
You two.
YouTube people that keep asking us.
It's probably not anybody, but still.
It's free real estate.
Oh my god.
Shit.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's free real estate.
Where are the other real estates going?
Where are the other real estates going?
It's free.
Real estate.
Hey, Alfred.
Hey,
I need real estate.
I need a lozenge. I need a lozenge.
Throat lozenge.
I need a throat lozenge.
So, yeah.
Cool. But if you want to follow us on social media, like you can go right on our Facebook wall and let us know about the Three Witches television show thing that Cody forgot that I don't even know what the fuck it is. And then when we see it, we'll be like, oh, that's what that was. Fuck.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, facebook.com/supermediabros. If you want to tweet at us and let us know what the fucking Three Witches stuff.
Or just witches. I don't think it's 3. I think it's just witches.
It could be 3.
It
I'm
could be
stuck
2.
on 3.
It could be 5. It could be 20. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, it's not that many.
no, well, if you want to do it on Twitter, that is supermedia_bros on Twitter.
Twitter.
And you already know to just message us or maybe tag us in a photo on Instagram and let us know, hey, this is that show, you know. Just let us know. That's Instagram.com/supermediabrospodcast.
And be like, hey, we looked at your stupid fucking pictures.
Yeah.
All calmly.
Just tell us that, yeah.
They're very stupid.
We'll throw back to episode 19 where this all fucking started. Just come look at our stupid pictures.
Or you'll end up like that kid on the steps.
That's right. Who did not look at the stupid pictures, and he faced the Kung Fury of Cody's right hand.
The Concrete Fury.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a concrete jungle out there, sir.
That's another Rootkit song. It's actually a good song, too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it. That's all the free real estate we have for you this week.
It's free real estate.
That was amazing. That was fucking amazing. I love it. So yeah, that's all the social media. That's all the hoopla.
And the time.
We are gonna exit the Dismembers Only Club.
And we want you to disassemble.
Number 5, disassemble. No disassemble, number 5.
No disassemble required.
If you haven't caught on by now, that was Dismembers Only, episode 41 of the Super Media Brothers podcast.
Yeah.
Until next week, I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
And I've been Okami.
Shades on!
Dismember off.